बता कितने कत्ल किए तूने, बता कितना मजा आया, कितने सिक्कों में बेचे मुर्दे, बता कितना कमाल आया. These haunting lines will stay with us for a while, as somewhere you get an eerie feeling that maybe the question is for you too. The two of us at Filmkopath watched Kennedy at different festivals. One at a 2000-seater NMACC auditorium in Mumbai as a part of the MAMI festival, along with hundreds of Kashyap fans fighting for a seat in its India premiere. And the other at the Birmingham Indian Film Festival, a more sober affair, with fellow foreign cinephiles gathered to watch the next offering from the poster boy of Indian genre cinema. The consensus among us and the eager audience seemed to be the same. The man is back. Well, almost. Kennedy marks a concrete return to form for Anurag Kashyap, something so many of us were waiting for long. There are reservations floating around about the convoluted script, cliché backstory, or the stretched duration of Kennedy, and all of that is true. But what you cannot deny is that Anurag is back with his carefree, indulgent filmmaking, indifferent to what might work or not work for majority of the audiences and the critics. We have a lot of esteemed makers in the country approaching their films consciously with pointed thoughtfulness and acute discipline, and we love them all. But cinema also needs those mad mavericks who walk out of their subconsciousness to create some screen poetry, and that's what Anurag Kashyap is at his best. It is true that Kennedy is no poetry, but there are rhymes that work and the promise of the poet being back with signatures that have amazed us in the past. As Anurag mentions in both post-screening discussions, the indulgence starts with the idea itself. The story is about this encounter cop Uday Shetty from the 80s, which is a perennial nudge in his head, pushed him to write Kennedy for the screen. The context and story come later as apparent from the screenplay, but the character study of Uday Shetty is what Kennedy is all about. And Kennedy works fine as the study of the killer cop. Kashyap's script follows this ruthless killer as he roams around Maximum City, fulfilling his targets to kill. It is a pure antithesis of what a policeman is supposed to be. An insomniac, emotionless killer by the night, and not the big-hearted rescuer you seek shelter from by the day. But interestingly, he was not that different when he operated by the day, as the flashbacks reveal. An encounter specialist with a constant appetite to kill. A pawn of the system then, turned to be a ghost of the lawless judicial structure now. Rahul Bhat plays this human Frankenstein with aplomb, almost single-handedly carrying the mood and the film. We wish we see more of him and beyond the darkness of Anurag Kashyap universe. The film is set during the pandemic, and in a way, Uday is not that different from the virus in the Mumbai air. It spreads from one corner to the other, hardly distinguishes between good, bad and ugly, and is in its unhinged streak of murders, much like our antagonist. His origin is more systematic than biological perhaps, like the virus again, as Uday now transforms into his alter ego Kennedy, as Mumbai faces the second wave of corona. There is a set piece where Kennedy goes on to murder a righteous politician who doesn't nod to horse trading. You wish he spares the righteous man and lands his violence on the varied criminal minds that we witness inside and outside the honest man's house. But that is not how the system works. That's not how encounters end up if you streamline them, and that's not how a virus spreads. It is these set pieces that serves as the most relishing part of Kennedy, as Sylvester Fonseca's camera captures them majestically. You feel like roaming around the streets of Mumbai yourself, mostly unknown of what lies ahead. And then there is the music. Another Kashyap signature back kicking and screaming, Prague Philharmonic Orchestra as the murders happen, or Aamir Aziz's heart-wrenching poetry in the neon-lit bars. Bata, kitne qatl kiye tune? Bata kitna maza aaya? Kitne sikko mein beche murde? Bata kitna kamal aaya? Is what the ghosts of Uday's victim ask him, a ghost of the system himself. And the question echoes around the nights of Mumbai, as if many other victims of the system are asking the people in power, the corrupt policemen, the auctioned politicians, or the businessmen who run the country. Bade Papa, as Anurag suggests. It is this mood of provocation and ambience, of pain and pessimism that you take away from Kennedy. Of a city running business as usual while dead bodies stacked by the side, of people facing a new pandemic of a virus that hits the economy further, which was anyway suffocating under the eternal pandemic of corruption. Perhaps the only way to survive this pandemic is by laughing at it, by giggling at the deaths it's causing, by ignoring its brutal nature and madness, something which only a Charlie could achieve, a victim of the rotting system who also has to play the system, a reflection of so many of us. Kennedy struggles whenever it tries to break out of this mood and set pieces to give meaning to all that we see. like explaining the backstory of Uday turning into Kennedy, like the out-of-the-place revenge angle of Uday that hardly gels with the metaphorical layers we spoke about, or like the day-wise countdown to the climax which hardly lands. Having cut short of these conventional tropes could have made the film far more crisper and appealing, letting it to be somewhat less accessible perhaps, but be it so if you are anyway running carefree. Perhaps the script itself is also a case of alter ego, written between the buzzard Anurag of No Smoking or Dev D, or the more safe Anurag of Dobara or Choked. But the promise is strong enough that larger things are loading as the cherished signatures are all back. Well, that is all from us today. Thank you for watching.